Hi, I'm back. I got kicked out.
Hello?
I'm back.
Yeah, I got kicked off. There must be 2 people signed in there.
Somebody. Unfortunately, I came in on Eric's because I didn't have mine.
I mean, no, there's 2 people signed into CB3. That's why I got kicked off.
Oh, okay.
I think there's 2 people signed. Maybe Susan didn't
I don't
sign
know. I
out.
got kicked off as well.
Oh, okay.
We're here.
I got kicked off and it made me upgrade.
Woo. Oh, yeah. I got the message to upgrade too. I have to do that.
Oh, maybe that's right. Oh, I'm always upgraded.
Are you?
Susan?
I try to upgrade it often as possible.
I have
Here
not
with
done it.
Alicia. No, Alicia's okay.
Okay, I'm back.
So, that's Alicia. So where's Susan? Must
Susan
have
will
been
be here in a
Susan.
second.
If Susan tried to sign in using the community board account instead of her own account, she kicked me out and I had to.
Oh, that's what happened. Yeah, somebody got kicked off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's hope she doesn't do that again.
I'm out now, so I have to go back in. So you guys should start that.
Oh, for the love of Zoom. Oh, we just gotta love Zoom. Okay, everybody.
But everybody can
We're just gonna
start
go
their.
ahead and get started. It's now 6:35. We're gonna call our meeting to order. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Community Board Executive Committee meeting, Thursday, December 15th, 2020. And we will start off with our roll call on the approval of minutes.
Okay. Hold on, sorry. Hold on, sorry. It's been a crazy day for me. Okay. Alicia Lewis Coleman.
Yes.
Larissa Shaneberg.
Yes.
Eric Diaz.
Yes.
Michelle Coopersmith. Yes. Shirley Fennessy.
He's out today.
Okay, right. Thomas Rosa.
Yes.
Oh, I'm on here twice. Anisha Stephen.
Yes.
Mei Lee.
Yes.
Hope you're okay. Jackie Wong.
Yes.
Thank you. Linda Jones.
Yes.
Alexandra Militano.
Yes.
Trevor Holland.
Yes.
Paul Rangel.
Yes, Madam Secretary, I'm here.
Finally, I got upgraded. Thank you.
Okay. Thank
Alicia,
you so
would you
much.
like me to share the agenda?
Yes. Do you have the agenda?
I do.
Okay. Please share your screen. Great. Thank you so much, Linda. All right, everyone. So happy holidays. And as we are preparing ourselves for the impending snowstorm tomorrow, I want to just be as brief as possible because I am out in the street with Susan. I'm here in the office. And so first things first, I want to thank you all again for your hard work on the community board as we prepare for the end of the year and get ready for the new year. We will start to think about some planning for future endeavors on the board. And one of the things I'd like to discuss with the executive board is to think about this annual report that the borough board had on their, I guess in the past, Scott Stringer was the last one that did it. It was an annual report that was prepared by all of the community board to even think about or consider is the topic of something of that sort, which would be a goal. And based upon the community board's needs during this pandemic, I'm thinking something like inequality exposed by COVID. And each one of you on your committees would be discussing this. But first, we'd like to just have you, as the chairs, give me your thoughts and your ideas about what you think of something like that, preparing like an annual report and how COVID has directly affected each one of your committees. Not like what we do when we put forth the budget priorities or anything like that. It would be just in general, like maybe a couple of bullet points of what you've noticed during COVID, and how it affects each and every one of your committees. And it doesn't have to be long-winded at all. I mean, I'm not expecting you to like, beat your members up over this. It's something that I just want us to put together. And it's actually also in response of something Michelle, if you don't mind, Michelle, she shared with me an idea of trying to see how the members feel about each one of their committees. And, are we meeting the needs of people in our community board, and that sort. So something like this would be maybe a little better than doing like a survey of all the members, because sometimes people get bogged down and they don't want to talk about individual, what I feel, or get into their feelings about each individual committee and their chairpersons, right? So this is not to make anyone feel bad, but this is just to touch bases and to see exactly what direction and what we've learned thus far from COVID. Okay, that's one. I also have to share with you that Carolyn is no longer the chair of the Subcommittee of Arts and Cultural Subcommittee. The subcommittee will begin working collectively with Nisha, myself, and their members to put together the direction of the subcommittee. We will probably be meeting in the month of February and discussing further. They'll put together an agenda and discuss exactly what direction they'd like to go on and how the community board directly is impacted in arts and cultural at this time. Also, as you know, there was a major fire on 2nd Avenue this past weekend. Middle Collegiate Church suffered a tremendous loss, damage to their whole sanctuary. It is gone. And the building next door on 7th Street and 2nd Avenue. If you haven't had a chance to go over, I'm telling you, I'm just blown away. I've never seen anything in that multitude of destruction from a fire in our community. I just haven't, and it just broke my heart to see, a house of worship burned down. Also directly affected was the Harper House, which is the Women's Prisons Association. That was a building that's next door. They didn't get burnt down, but they did have quite a bit of water damage. What they've asked us to do is, we'll talk about that later on. I think Linda has something to share also, but they've asked us to please be supportive monetarily. If people could please go on their website and look out for ways that you can give any type of donation to both the church and also to the Hopper House.
Alicia, can you post the link to their website in the chat?
It's actually, we have it, if you go on our Facebook, it's.
Oh, it's on the Facebook? Okay.
If you go on our Facebook.
Right, yeah.
We send it out on Twitter and Facebook. So if you click on our Facebook or our Twitter, it's a special donate website for Hopper House and for the church.
Okay, thank you.
Should I send it out to everybody?
Yeah, I think it would be great if you did that, Susan. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, that's concluding my report for tonight. We'll go on to the next agenda item. Also, I'm sorry, I did put underneath of my report, the timeline review. So right now we don't have anything on the timeline, but I thought it would be just befitting for us to always have the timeline review periodically up on our agenda for the executive, only because I don't want us to miss out on things like right now, it's not on our timeline, but we have to prepare for for people to put in applications for full board membership. So as you know, our website has the application, and so does the Borough President's Office. So I think it is important for us to remind members that are renewing and those that you think would be great candidates in the community. We are in desperate need of great membership always, right? So, and you know that there are some wonderful people out there in the community that give a lot of input individually in our community. So I encourage you all to please ask people to fill out the application, right? We're just looking for new membership always, right? So thank you again. And this concludes my report. Next item, first Vice Chair. Madam?
Alicia, I just have a
Yes.
question. You didn't give a timeline for when you wanted us to respond to COVID-related concerns, like bullet
Yeah,
points?
so we can definitely, Alex, thank you so much. We could definitely review, and next month we can talk about it again, and I'll put it back on the agenda. And as chairs, you can come back and talk to me, and we'll discuss it further. This is just like an introduction of it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, first Vice Chair's report.
Okay, this is regarding the holiday party. First of all, happy holidays to everybody and happy Hanukkah for everyone celebrating. I'm totally lit tonight. So as you saw, I sent out an email for save the date marking December 20th for our holiday party. Susan will be setting up and sending out the Zoom. I've done a cute little PDF to go into the invitation for everyone to get everyone in the festive mood. I have not had a lot of volunteers for our talent portion of the evening. So please, guys, dig deep, get your Frank Sinatra out there and bring him to the surface. Come on, we need a little holiday cheer. Even if you can sing totally off key, we love it. We'll all sing along. I am going to do some ambient music in the background, maybe put up a little festive snowfall or fire burning, something like that, a little Yule log to get everybody in the holiday mood. And anybody else who has any other talents, my email is still open, or any other suggestions. I'm happy to hear them. Thanks.
Larissa, I did not receive the link. If you could send it to me, I would definitely be willing to share some of my hidden gifts with the board.
Yay. Okay, terrific. It wasn't a link. It was just the email. I will resend it, Alicia, for sure. And thank you. We did get a one thing I'm really excited about. We are going to have a hip hop holiday toast. That sounds like so much fun. So I am going to send out another email as well with some suggestions for holiday cocktails and recipes. So maybe everyone could make your own holiday cocktail and come join for the toast.
Okay. That sounds lovely. Thank you so much, Larissa, for working on this. This is really nice. Okay, next item on the agenda.
Alicia, I had a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's about your report. So is the Manhattan Borough President going to send out reminders to all the board members whose terms are up, like they're in their second year, and whether about just to remind them to reapply if they want to? Is that are they gonna do that this year? Because they did it previously. And, sometimes members don't remember and they forget. They don't remember, they haven't kept track, And then, the other thing is that you wanted a write-up from the committee chairs. Were you gonna have this like sort of list of questions? I mean, it doesn't have to be a very long list, but like 1 or 2 questions you want us to answer, or are you just telling us now what you just said?
So this is just a share of what okay, Brian is here, I'm sorry. And he says, yes, we will absolutely let everyone know. So yes, I will, I guess I guess I could generate some questions for us to answer, but I really just want us to really just have an open conversation, and we can generate questions and topics of how COVID has directly affected each one of us. Okay.
Oh, I thought you wanted to submit something in writing. I'm sorry.
No. This is just goals and projections of what we'd like to see. That's all.
Oh, okay. I got it.
All right. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, now we're gonna move on. I'm sorry. We'll move on to second vice chair's report. Eric? Eric, are you there?
Sorry, guys. Yeah, nothing to report, except thank you guys for voting. And shout out to the 3 abstains. But thank you guys, yeah.
Okay, Eric is in these streets. Always working hard, Eric. Thank you so much. The district manager's report.
Okay, thank you. First of all, on the annual report, I think it'll be maybe helpful if I send out an old one to everyone. So the city charter actually mandates this, but we haven't done it in the last 8 years. None of the community boards have it in the last 8 years. So I'll send out an old one, and you can ignore, it required a lot of copy and pasting of district needs and that kind of stuff. So you could ignore all that. But I think the pertinent part that Alicia was talking about was like goals for the committee. And I know there's been discussions among some of the members about the board being more unified. And so if you're, the exec, looks at goals for the committees, it's, possible that that might be one way you could have like themes or more unity. Anyway, I'll remember to send that out so people have something concrete to look at. Also, just wanted to mention about the church. I went over there last Saturday, and of course, everybody in the community is sick. It's not, it's a 130-year-old building, and it's also a very amazing community-oriented congregation. When we had the 2nd Avenue gas explosion, we had all our meetings and all our space was in Collegiate Church. They've always been very supportive and helped in many community endeavors. It's one of the only pastors I know, which, kind of gives you an idea of the link. And the Hopper House next door, which is a women's prison association, our board supported that. It's a shelter, transitional shelter for women coming out of prison, and our board did support that. And I just want to say about clothing. During the 2nd Avenue explosion, one thing OEM told me, they said when people are going through trauma, the last thing they need is somebody's old dirty sweatshirt. So I think the city generally does not encourage the old clothing, but I know the money is incredibly needed. You're all aware that COVID has been on the rise again. It's hard to not know that. After Thanksgiving, 10009 went up 2.5% in 1 week, an increase in cases. 03, I think, was similar, or 03 was a little less, and 02 was similar. The city is now having test and trace meetings for the district managers and chairs every other week. So at least we'll be more informed of action and how we can help. We did agree to support LES Ready on their mobile testing, but they haven't been assigned a date yet. So that's it for those issues. Just a few things. So I'm looking forward to working with all the new people. I think it's great that we're getting more people engaged in the board. There's little things, just little hints I'd like to give people as they go along. First of all, we should, whenever you're emailing a full committee or the full board, always put it in BCC. There's a couple reasons for it. One is that it does not allow people to reply all, and open meeting law does not allow us to have discussions by email. That's a private meeting. So a quorum or more of a committee or the board cannot be discussing anything or working on anything or making plans. So if you're sending out information, if you put everything in BCC, then if someone has a question, they're responding only to you. The other thing, it saves you from getting 50 emails where people say, thank you, okay, that kind of thing. And I believe it's also when you have the emails in a CC, I've been told it's easier to hack. I don't know if that's true, but I've been told that. Some news that I was very excited about. You know that the DOT commissioner went to Washington, and Margaret Forgione, who was under Bloomberg, she was our borough commissioner, is now acting DOT commissioner. She's an amazing, wonderful, effective person. So I don't understand why she's acting instead of commissioner, but I think it's going to help us a lot. She is our borough commissioner. Ed Penkar has also been drafted to help in a lot of citywide projects as well as being borough commissioner. And one of the things he's going to be more involved in is this open streets and open restaurants. And he absolutely wants to hear from us and work with us to see what needs to be done before it becomes permanent. So I'm feeling very hopeful about that. I was going to, first of all, I wanted to actually thank Eric. Eric had mentioned that he would like to learn the procedures of how the board and particularly the exec works with the office. And I really appreciate that because it helps us a lot too. And I want to encourage people to, always reach out and ask. And if there's Eric, I don't know if you have suggestions for a way to do this. Whether you want me to do it as part of my report a little bit every month, or if you want to set an agenda of things for me to talk about, that would be fine also. Eric, oh, he's on the street, maybe.
That's good. I'll work on that, Susan. Thank you for the.
Okay, so I really appreciate you wanting to understand that and know that it makes everything a lot easier. And I just want to say, because we do so many things, we're terribly procedure driven. And sometimes we really drop the ball, like we did twice this month on Zoom. We had 2 meetings where there were 2 different Zoom rooms. And the reason that happened, we figured out a way to prevent it. But what happened is when you copy and paste, sometimes when you copy, it's the last thing you copy, not the current that is really there. And that's what happened. We had an old link instead of a new link. So we will be checking that every month to make sure it doesn't happen again. But I think I have a procedure to do that. And I want to let you know for the exec and full board, you are all panelists. So a day before the meeting and an hour before the meeting, you get an email reminding you of the meeting and a link to click on. You should click on that link, not on the website, because the link in the email you're sent makes you a panelist so that you can speak. And our Zoom website sends them out automatically every month. So it's the same people. We just make sure that you're all in there. If anyone didn't get theirs, let me know. I'll make sure that your email is in there. Are there any questions about anything as far, particularly for new people, as far as how we do anything? I'd certainly like to work with people on minutes because I think we can make it much easier if they know how the minutes are being used and that they don't have to write everything everyone says. And maybe, so if there's no questions, I sent out a budget to everyone. Linda, do you want to maybe put the budget on the share screen?
Sure. Let me stop this one. And there you go.
Thank you. So we used to just keep on like a treasurer's report every month. And Thomas, I don't know if anyone told you, there's really not much work involved in this. and there's really nothing to report. So first of all, I want to remind everyone, we are a city agency. How we spend money is dictated by the city. Who we can spend it with is dictated by the city. Our website's a city website. What we put on there is dictated by the city. We deal with a lot of restrictions. So every community board gets the same budget, and it's the same every year. It's baseline, so it's the same every year unless something happens. This year, we had $8,000 taken out. It's a program to eliminate the gap, which means a deficit. So we have almost no money. So we have, you can see we spend $242,000 basically on salary. And then our supplies and everything else is called OTPS budget. That's other than personal services, which is other than salary. We got a $9,000 grant from between our two council members. So that kind of made up for the $8,000 that we lost. And what we spend money on, it's not very exciting. Water cooler, telephone, copy machine. We have someone come in every other week to clean the office for 2 hours. And we occasionally have, it's called consultant, but it's really a freelancer. We had a huge FOIL request last week. So I hired her to come in for a few hours to fill the FOIL request. So there's really not much leeway. We have where it says Impress Fund, that's a petty cash fund. It takes 2 people to cash a check, and it's myself and Alicia are on there right now. We could put Thomas on also. It's just a lot of paperwork if he wants to do it. And I'm trying to think. So the purchase, where it says purchase orders, we put money aside for, the water cooler, the phone, that kind of stuff. And then the column shows how much spent and then how much we have left in that, for that particular thing, whether it be the copy machine or what. So I think this year, because of COVID and because we have no money, you're not going to see much of anything else being spent. You can see on top, it said front desk shield. That's one of those plastic shields I bought for Deidre to keep on her desk, because if we ever start having people come in again, that'll protect her, even for the mail delivery. And then where it says rollover account, that's a separate account we have with the city that we don't have to spend every year. It can roll over from year to year, which is why we gave it that name. And that's been from some movie donations. We had a flood in here once, that's the insurance money. It's things like that. We also have one other account, which is the Friends of account, which for some reason isn't showing on here. There's about $9,000 in there. And it's not the community board's account. And I think it would be a good idea if we put David Crane in touch with Thomas to explain the Friends of account. We really shouldn't discuss it here because this is a community board meeting, and that's Friends of Community Board 3. So Thomas, if you'll remind me to put you in touch with David Crane, who was instrumental when we started it years ago. And it is showing on there. I'm sorry, it's not showing on my printout here. Yeah, it's not showing on my printout. So it's 19,000. And then the Red Cross account, that's actually money left over from a 9/11. We got a Red Cross grant. Both of those accounts are being held by University Settlement. They must be with a 501c3, and they manage them for us without any charge. So that's all our money. I know it's not very interesting, but that's all our money. At the end of every year, I usually, we print out a listing of everything we've spent. And just let you know, the city has a financial management system. So we have to, only city employees can go in there, and we have to write all our checks, basically give permission for people to be paid. It's all on the financial management system. It takes 3 people to spend money. One person inputs it, and then it has to have a lower level approval and then a higher level approval. And I believe on the controller's website, there are links to how every city agency spends their money. So this is all very public and transparent. Is there anything anyone wants to know more about money? No. Okay. I'll actually stop there unless anyone has any questions. And I really encourage people, if you want to know about any particular procedure, shoot me an email and we'll set up a time to talk.
Okay, thank you, Susan, for your report. Okay, you discussed the Zoom coordination?
I didn't.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that now.
I just want to know, so Larissa, you're going to be, I understand, basically in charge of the Zoom now. Is that correct? You're muted.
Yes, sorry about that. I didn't. Yeah. Not a good start if I can't unmute myself.
We all, it's something new every week with Zoom, count on it.
Okay.
So if you go on our website where it says committees, for every committee, it tells who the Zoom facilitator is.
Yep.
There is one committee, I think a subcommittee, where we have 2 people alternating. So that might be something that you'll check every month to make sure one of them are doing it. It's just important to generally keep an eye on the agenda for, I'll tell you, just to make sure there's no unusual needs. What happened this month, we had an arts and culture follow an economic development. So we had somebody facilitating economic development, but not the following meeting. So I thought, I realized that, and I called Clint and he was happy to do that. So having one person, it just, having everybody do everything is a disaster. So having one person, just kind of be in charge of that and is excellent. I'm happy to, if you have any questions at the beginning to get you started. I don't know if you've talked to Michael at all to kind of transition, but that would probably be really helpful because I'm not sure everything he did either.
I emailed him and he was good. He helped me out with some advice, and I am going to put together some more questions for him. Yes.
Okay.
He was very helpful.
We also have in the borough president's office, Noel, who he's actually has a nonprofit, but he works in, I don't understand, some kind of partnership with the borough president's office, but he's the one that helped us set up, it's a Zoom, the borough president's office bought the Zoom for all of Manhattan. He helped us set it up and all that. So we also have an expert to rely on when there's at very advanced questions.
Sure. If you can, yeah, I want to definitely get in touch with him as well.
Okay, so I will introduce you to him. But like I say, if look at on the website, it shows every designated person on the website. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I got the email as well with the list of the Zoom coordinators too.
I didn't know there was a list.
There was an email showing all the Zoom coordinators.
Okay, well, I didn't know that happened, but it's on the website.
Yep.
It's on our website under the committees. I always get leery when there's more than one of something going around.
Jackie's hand is up.
Yeah, I just want to say that I really thank Linda for helping with NYCHA in the past 2 meetings with the Zoom. However, going forward, the NYCHA subcommittee may not have a Zoom coordinator. I just want Larissa to be aware of that. Like going forward, we don't have a Zoom coordinator for the NYCHA subcommittee.
For NYCHA subcommittee? Okay.
Right, so we need to find one. Thank you.
So, so I'll work with you. I mean, we have some people like, Linda and Clint, and see if we can get other backups, but we have a list of backups. And I thought maybe it would be a very good idea at the full board, if we can ask if there are other people who are knowledgeable who might be willing to be backups. Like we have a town hall coming up, we'll ask somebody to do that, but it'd be great to have a list of that.
I have a question and I can't raise my hand.
Go ahead, Linda.
Because you're the host.
Question, the full board, three of us have been running full board, and I haven't heard anything about what is wanted for this full board meeting.
Oh, Larissa, you're running
I
that.
could do it, or
Yeah, I'm the Zoom coordinator for the full board.
And you're running the.
And I'm running the introduction for the
public
electeds reports and
public session.
and public session. Thank you.
So Linda, what did you do before? I know you helped on the full board before. What is it that you did?
yeah, Clint and I kind of divided up sort of co-hosting chores, keeping track of people who needed to be admitted to the meeting, getting board members who went into the regular room instead of the panelist room and moving them into the right room, dealing with the chat, and leaving the basic hosting to Michael, but we did all the auxiliary stuff.
Oh,
I'm gonna say a lot of particularly elected officials, but other people would always text Michael and me during the meeting, which drove us totally crazy because of course we were working. And I have asked every elected official office, please do not text us during meetings. I use the chat box, and between you will be watching the chat box. So every elected official that comes, like I know Yulene is coming to the full board. So when you see her sign on, you can move her to a panelist. Yeah, usually I recognize the actual electeds. It's no problem. But if they've sent some assistant, I may or may not recognize them. So if I see the borough president or one of the electeds in the Zoom room, I move them into the panelists right away, so they're there. But as I say, I don't always recognize the people who are going to speak for them, so they do need to put it in the chat. Yeah, and they usually say so-and-so's office, but don't let anyone start texting you. It will make you crazy and tense. It will make us all crazy. Yeah. So Larissa, I guess you're the coordinator, right? You're the host.
Yeah, I'll do the hosting. So yeah, so I was assuming that Michael was doing the Zoom coordinating for the second half, so that wasn't happening.
I don't know. I haven't heard from him.
Can I suggest that we take this offline so everybody else?
Oh, sure. Let's email afterwards, Linda, if that's okay.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I can email Michael as well.
Sure. And the other thing is the party. Doesn't the party need a host? Well, I just offered to set up the Zoom meeting, but I don't know who's going to host it.
I was assuming
I'm sorry, Larissa, I thought you would be.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming. I would do the hosting since I'm going to run the music and the background.
Terrific. If you need help, let me know.
I will probably need help. Yes. Thank you, Linda.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the NYCHA recommendations for the blueprint change.
Let me share that.
Yeah, you have to go down to the resolution.
Oh, it's down. I don't have to stop the share, right? So it was down at the end of this one.
Yeah, you just had to scroll down.
Sorry, I thought it was a separate document.
Jackie, do you want to explain why we're voting on it, or do you want me to?
I can do that. So NYCHA subcommittee, so we had a meeting last night and we adopted a resol on the NYCHA blueprint for change and preservation trust plan. But the thing is that we didn't have a quorum to pass the resol last night. So I'm bringing it to the exec and try to move it from the floor. So we didn't take a position on whether we support this plan or not. We just think that despite NYCHA's outreach effort, there are still a lot of residents who just don't have a clear and deep understanding about the plan. And the plan is really extensive and very technical. And also all the outreach effort right now is through Zoom and virtual, and many NYCHA residents who are monolingual or don't have computer are not really engaged due to the technological and also language gaps. So we think the plan will have a long way to go. So we are asking NYCHA to put a pause on the plan right now. Susan?
So the reason it's coming to the exec is ordinarily it would go to land use and then land use would vote on it. However, there is a NYCHA hearing at the end of this month, so there's not time to send it to land use. So it's sort of an emergency measure for the exec to vote on it tonight, and then the full board can ratify it next month. But it's the purpose was so that we could participate in the hearing. I think it's on the 28th.
Yeah, December 28th, correct.
So that was all. I
Yep.
just wanted to explain, because otherwise we would never be voting on something at the exec if it weren't for a timely emergency.
Right, it's an urgency issue. Yeah. Thank you. So do I motion to adopt the result from here?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Do we need a roll call?
Yeah, I think you should do a roll call.
Michelle needs to do a roll call.
Mhm.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me just pull.
I'm sorry, Michelle, I should have put at the end,
No, it's okay.
no and maybe.
I'm just gonna.
Jackie, this is
Paul,
the
Paul,
resolution.
Paul has a hand.
Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, so Jackie, just a quick question. You guys put this all together last night just without quorum?
Correct.
Okay, that's it.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you. And also, it is not just about the quorum issue. It's also because the NYCHA subcommittee needs to report to the land use. So the right way is that it also needs to be approved by the land use committee. However, this is time sensitive, and we want to submit an opinion on this by December 28th. So there's urgency. So I'm bringing it to the exec.
Eric
Has his hand up. Eric, go ahead.
I just want to make sure what's on the screen share is the resolution that we're voting on.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, it's the therefore part of it.
Yeah, it's about a page, 2 pages long.
Okay, are we good?
Which was sent out earlier today.
Okay, are we good? Should I do roll call or vote? I mean,
Yeah, go ahead, Michelle.
okay. Alicia,
Yes.
Larissa,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
thank you. Michelle, yes. Shirley, absent. Thomas,
Yes.
thank you. Anisha,
Yes.
May,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
Trevor,
Yes.
Paul.
Yes.
The resolution passes.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone. They really worked very hard last night. It was a really great meeting, to be honest with you, and I'm very proud of Troy having had his first meeting last night. Okay.
Terrific.
Yeah, he really did. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is the vote to, Linda, this is your item, vote to respond to save and restore Middle Collegiate Church.
Okay. So as a little background, the fire happened on December 5th and the Landmarks Committee met December 7th. So we were not able to, we talked about a resolution. We're not really able to pass a resolution because it wasn't on the agenda. So that's why it's coming to exec. Basically, the resolution asks, that best efforts be made to save the church, save the building. It looks like some parts of the building are salvageable, some are not. As Susan gave a status today, and Susan, you might want to jump in with that status if you like.
You want me to do it now?
Sure.
So I don't have it in front of me, so you could help me, Linda. It looks like the bell and at least the framework for the bell steeple will be saved and either restored or repaired. And we don't know about the steeple yet. They are demolishing the nave, and the rest of the church, they're sending us updates once or twice a week. The other parts of the church is to be determined. The Hopper House, which is a shelter next door, Looks like it'll be totally saved. It has water and smoke damage. Take a lot of money to fix up. It'll be totally saved. It's also over 100 years old. And then the building on the corner, which at one time was a restaurant and where the fire started, is completely destroyed.
Yeah, it's the other thing I can say is that I know that the church is working with the Landmarks Commission and trying to, figure out what can be restored, what can't be restored. And of course, they're raising money to help with this restoration. So if you can find it in your heart to contribute a little, I think would be good. I'll read you the resolution. There's one more whereas that I'd like to add, and I'll put that in now. Somehow it didn't get into the final.
Linda, before you read it, could you just tell us, is it being directed to the Landmarks Commission?
It's the Landmarks Commission and the Department of Buildings.
Okay, thanks.
Linda, may I also ask, did anyone from Landmarks reach out to the pastors of the church?
The committee?
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
I did send an email, but I haven't had an answer.
I think it's important for us to just give them some respect and make sure that we are in communication with them as best as we can be. Because I think they, like, Susan said earlier, they do a tremendous amount of work in the community, and I don't want us to kind of like overstep, but I think I commend you putting this together. So let's go ahead and listen to your reso.
I would say I can help you. I've been in touch with the associate pastor, so I can certainly help you make contact.
Thank you. The really important thing here is that this church, and we all know it's important, and we all know it's old, and we all know it's a landmark. It's also a national landmark, and there really aren't very many of those. That's a very high distinction on the National Register. So it's a really important building. Of course, everything about the church is important. This is not to say the mission of the church isn't important. We all love it. But it's just to hope to restore the building or some of the building. So anyway, so the whereas that I left out was saying that it's a national landmark.
You want a second?
Yeah.
I would say, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure, I want Linda to read it, but I also really just want to encourage us to maybe hold off on passing a resolution at this time until we actually speak to the pastors or the associate pastors to make sure that we're honoring what the church really wants at this time, because I'm not sure, like, I do understand, Linda, where you're coming from. It's like, it's a landmark building, it's a part of our community, it's history, and all of that. But having gone by the church on several times this past week, and actually after the event happened, I think we really need to hold off before we speak to them directly and see exactly what it is that they're looking for the community board to do.
Susan has her hand up over
Susan.
there.
Just on the same line. First of all, things come, and I understand. First of all, we all feel the same way about the church, and we all want everything saved. I think there's no controversy there. And you know me, I'm a procedure person, so I'm going to object to the procedure. We bring things to the exec when there's an emergency, and I would say like the NYCHA one, so that we could testify on the 28th. I don't think there's an emergency here because no one's looking for anything for us. Nothing's going to happen or not happen because of this. We don't even know what the results are going to be. I've talked to Linda about this previously, so she knows what I'm going to say. DOB does their findings. They have engineers, and the findings are all done. It's by science. And I think asking them to do something when their mission is to give a report based on science, not make a decision on what should be saved or not saved. Other than that, I don't think it's right for us to do that. And I think the idea of voting on the church without having the church here is just against all transparency. I know in the landmarks, like if we want to landmark something, we have to invite them because it's in the guidelines. And we always do that. If we're going to discuss something, we always invite the people. And I think what we should be doing is contacting them and saying, you know, what is it that you want and how can we help you, before we behind their backs make a resolution on their church. And, you know, it's like I said, I totally want everything saved. I'm keeping my fingers crossed as much as possible, but I think procedurally it's not an emergency, and I don't think it's right to do to the church, and I don't think it's right to tell DOB how to do their job, because all they're doing right now is engineering reports.
Okay,
There's
Trevor.
nothing in this resolution that's telling DOB what to do. It's just saying every effort must be made. That's all.
But we're telling them to make every effort to save anything. What they're doing is science. I don't think we have never told DOB how to make an inspection. And I don't think it's appropriate for
I
us.
don't think we're telling DOB how to make a.
I'm just giving you my opinion.
Susan, can we just allow everyone an opportunity to speak? I see Trevor's hand and Alex's hand.
Just a quick question for Linda, and I understand the whole issue of procedure. What is the emergency here?
Well, I think it's an emergency because we were unable to pass a resolution that we would have passed in committee, but you know, it wasn't on the agenda. So if we have to leave this until next month, I guess we can do that. You know, I think I would convey, in fact, I have conveyed, you know, because we had the community there. The community was very passionate about this, that we should convey this information back to the community somehow, that we're going to have this conversation next month. We can put it on the agenda.
I strongly suggest that we reach out to the church and get a hold of them and
we'll
invite them.
If we could have done that between the 5th and the 7th, we would have done that, but it wasn't in the cards. I see some more hands, though.
Okay, I see Alex's hand, and then May and Larissa.
So I appreciate the procedural argument, which I hadn't considered. With respect to, you know, inviting them and asking them their opinion, that's certainly important. It seems like we've already had some communication with them.
Yes.
Have we asked them that yet?
No, that's what we're being
How can
asked
we
to
help
do.
them?
I didn't know about this when I was communicating.
Okay, no, I meant just generally, so that the way that you phrased it was, you know, what can we do to help you? How can the community board help you? Has that been asked of them?
We asked it of them, but not as in a landmark. I didn't ask them. I'm sorry, I should have been more clear. I think we should ask them, you know, as representative. I think Linda, as representative of Landmarks Committee, should say, how could her committee help?
I will do that.
May?
Oh, no, I just wanted to say I agree that talking to the pastors, you know, of the church about this specific resolution and the language is the most important thing before we pass it. And we are not saying like they're going to tear it down tomorrow. So I don't see this as an emergency.
Thank you, May. Next, we have Larissa and then Paul.
Okay, I don't have an opinion on the emergency or not, but the verbiage, I have a few changes that I made. I could send them to you, Linda, highlighting the national historic significance of the church as well, because I think that's tremendously important to put into the resolution. So if that's okay, I could email you the language.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, Paul?
Yeah, we had a similar issue of transportation back in May with Officer Garcia. That's when that situation had happened and the community was very passionate about it, but we couldn't put it on the agenda. We just waited till June. We waited a month and the same community members came back and we drafted the resol then. So I think that's the same kind of tactic we should use for this.
So everybody spoke. One thing is, there's a bit of a history, and I've actually experienced it with the church in Staten Island, where before the Landmarks Commission could even look at the landmark church after the fire department declared it an emergency and the Department of Buildings demolished it. And this was within 2 days. And I think it was that memory that was in my heart when I saw this, to think, oh gosh, they might precipitously demolish it before the Landmarks Commission has had a chance to evaluate it. And that is not happening. Landmarks Commission is working with DOB, and I think that, and they're working with the church. So that's all good.
Thank you, Linda. Susan, your hand is physically up.
Just to give Linda more confidence, every elected official is also very involved in this and working, communicating with DOB on all these updates and the demolition. So, I certainly understand your fear. I think because of the history of that happening, everybody's on the alert this time.
Yeah, I think so too. I think more eyes are on this. It's a much more important church than the one that we lost in Staten Island, but I don't think we needed to lose that one. And, it was just unfortunate. So in any case, I will take it back to the committee. Luckily, we put it on the agenda, right, Susan?
Sure.
Just make sure it's worded that we're going to have a resolution.
I will send you the wording before we publish it.
Okay, and what else did I want to say? Oh, and about the Hopper House, we also had constructed a resolution about the Hopper House, but which is also a city landmark, but it turns out that it's all right, and the Landmarks Commission says the damage is relatively minor. So hopefully it'll be back in business soon. That's it.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, now we're going to go into our committee reports. SLA.
There's nothing to report. There were 5 items. 5, excuse me.
Okay. Parks.
Just one resolution regarding a soccer pitch at PS 188. It comes from the New York Soccer Initiative. We voted on 2 of those in the past, and we passed them. They're generally good things that where this group will come in and put in a mini pitch soccer that's made of acrylic and provide some free programming for the kids. The school that it's located has a population of about 50%. About 50% of the population are homeless kids. So this will provide not only a free soccer pitch, but some programming, some structured programming for these kids. There's also another resolution which we had a joint committee meeting at Transportation, but I'll let Transportation take the lead on that one.
Okay. Thank you. Trevor, would you also like to share anything about, well, I know it's not a community board item, but the BMCR informational session tomorrow night?
Thank you for reminding me. The BMCR, Brooklyn Montgomery Coastal Resiliency Project, was the coastal resiliency project below the East Side Coastal Resiliency area, is meeting tomorrow for a Zoom meeting. I'll see if I can find that information in one of my emails and drop it in the chat. It is important, and it's a $250 million flood resiliency project that did get federal funding and still has city funding, so I think it's important. And if you think about New York City as a whole, and even Manhattan, we have 2 major resiliency projects which are still funded and on track to protect our coastline. So I think it's critical, not only that we get support, but for folks to sign on and take a look to see what these projects are going to look like and how they will protect our neighborhood in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you, Trevor.
I'm just going to add one thing. I know Susan is aware of this, is that I haven't looked at the agenda for next month, but we're going to talk about the opening and closure of parks. I know that there's been some directive by the parks to open some of the parks 24 hours and to close some, but we're going to take a look at the entire issue for our area at the next parks meeting.
Yeah, my park being one of those. We appreciate that, and it would be interesting to know upon what principle they decided which parks when. So I'll be listening in.
Thank you. Okay, Transportation.
Yeah, so as Trevor alluded to before, we did have the joint item with Parks last week, discussing a portion of the BMCR project where DOT wants to convert Robert F. Wagner Place to one way. So we asked for a bunch of things in that resolution. We asked for, bike protections, the bike lane, the way it was all going to be set up. We asked for a bunch of things. I think the resolution came out well. Moving after that, we did have the resolution about moving Attorney Street to alternate side parking. We did that. We asked for a bunch of things on there as well, just to clear it up after their presentation. After that, we did discuss a bunch of other items that were not voted on, but we do have the town hall coming up in January 12th, about open restaurants and the Open Streets Restaurants program. I believe City Council Rivera and Chin are going to sponsor it. We're not sure yet if the borough president, I know we're asking today, will sponsor it, hopefully. I think CB6 will be a part of it, but it'll be a webinar form, just like the way we do our full board and exec meetings. And people can submit questions online. And I think we just cleaned that up today as well. Once I got home, I responded to all those emails. And I think we're just waiting on the flyer.
Which we need.
Yes.
They're complicated to do, so I expect that they take a couple rounds.
What I would say to you is you can reach out to your fellow board members that are on other committees. Tariq and Tati actually did a great job on designing one for the Arts and Cultural Subcommittee. Right, Thomas? Am I right?
Tariq is working on it.
Yeah.
We'd asked Tariq. I think he's actually attending the meeting right now. So, Tariq.
We know he does beautiful flyers, so he's going to end up doing all the rest.
He might be our official flyer maker. He says he's working on it right now. Okay, great. Thank you, Tariq, and thank you, Paul. Is that all for your report, Paul?
That is all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have economic development. Anisha?
We had a joint meeting, economic development and arts and culture, and we passed one joint resolution. It was to support Council Bill Intro 2068, which is basically to allow cultural organizations to use the Open Streets program. We wrote this resolution, and then City Council did come to an agreement with the mayor's office and pass this legislation earlier this week. So it's sort of a question as to how we proceed with this reso. I think there are still some recommendations in here that, are useful for people to hear, but it's sort of, not necessarily going to be incorporated into anything anymore.
Susan?
Is there a reason to pass a resolution supporting legislation that's already passed? I mean, we're saying what we want in it, which of course is irrelevant. And as you said, there's other issues that wouldn't it be more effective and forceful to instead do a separate resolution on those other issues? Because this is just going to City Council, and it sort of doesn't make sense anymore.
I mean, I'm happy to do whatever the guidance of the executive committee is. I think, this has happened on this committee once before, and we did just sort of explain that legislation had already passed. We can do it again, but if it's up, if everybody else sort of agrees with that approach also. I feel bad because we've spent 2 really obnoxious meetings talking about this resolution and getting it together. So I feel like both committees put so much work into it that it's sort of sad that people won't see the fruits of all of this discussion.
I did say at the meeting that it would pass before you voted on it, and I was told by a member, no, I was wrong.
Yeah. Alex.
So in this resolution, I mean, I was one of the people who worked on it along with everybody else, but in this resolution, in addition to supporting this proposed legislation when it was proposed, we also talked about our concerns about how it would be implemented, you know, and how, regulated. I just want to know, if we're going to do an alternative resolution, if we consider that, where would that be directed, so that, you know, we know like who it would go to and how we would voice those particular concerns to the agency or agencies that would actually deal with them at this point. And so everybody else knows, because I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I just want to know where we would direct that.
Do you want me to speak to it?
Yes.
Go ahead. Susan.
We'd find, well, for implementation, we'd find out the agencies that are implementing it. And then one of the things was about an executive order. That should be a separate one to the mayor.
So I guess since the resolution is already written, what is the harm in just passing it, even if it is sort of, you know, not necessarily as impactful as we, or as the Arts and Culture Subcommittee hoped it would be? Because there are, I mean, Alex is right in the sense that there are still some, you know, points that we made about the implementation, and I guess we could do a follow-up resolution to this. I still think that like we put some thoughts into this resolution, and it could go to city council, or it could go to, you know, and it could be directed to whomever.
Well, I would say, I think if we want people to pay attention to our resolutions, sending one to support something that's already been voted on doesn't give us a track record of having very impactful, important resolutions, but it won't do any harm. It'll just sit someplace.
Yeah. Alicia, do you have any?
No, I mean, I think I do agree that it's there is no harm at this time. I mean, it's already out there, and the committee did work very hard and diligently on it. So I think that we could present it to a full board.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Mei Lee has her hand up.
Yeah, I guess it'll probably pass full board unless somebody decides that it's not effective and then they start shooting it down and then it doesn't, you know, I mean, that has happened before.
Right.
But, you know, in the future, if we're looking at city council resolutions that passed and we think they're good, I mean, another way to, you know, to channel the committee's energy would be maybe, I don't know if like community members need to be informed about the provisions. I mean, you know, I mean, there's other ways to channel it, or like Alexandra says, maybe there's concerns about how it's being implemented. I mean, agencies can be invited to meetings where people, you know, where their concerns are addressed. So, but it doesn't just have to be saying, yeah, you did a good job kind of thing, you know?
Right. Yeah, I guess that's how we
so for the future.
This one was sort of set, like it was, because it was a arts and culture joint one. There was a lot of, there was just a lot of chatter around supporting this. So it became something much bigger than what it was. In any case, I think that we can keep it on the vote sheet and we'll see what the full board has to say. And hopefully, I don't think there's any harm in keeping it on there. And then just a note for the January meeting, that will have representatives from the Union Square Tech Hub coming to sort of give an update because we haven't heard from them in a while. So that'll be on the agenda for January.
Thank you, Anisha. Is that all for your report?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. Health and Human Services.
Hi, so we have no resolutions to vote on at this meeting, but we had a discussion last month. It was an education-related issue, and it was COVID-19 testing of the students, but many other questions came up as well. And, you know, the COVID-19 testing is important, but what was really kind of, you know, even more, you know, pressing right now is in this era, in this time of remote learning, sometimes remote learning and sometimes there isn't, or sometimes they're blended learning. Students, especially the ones with special needs, are really being left behind, and DOE is not doesn't have a proactive plan to support the families. So a lot of families are really on their own. So it was just this thing that was raised, and we did some planning for a future meeting where we would invite speaker from DOE and possibly pass a resolution around this. We also thought about, having like a resource event for parents to educate them about, to give them the resources to deal with this. And there are other meetings that they can attend. Also, as you recall, before all this ever happened, we were planning on an in-person resource fair for these very parents. But it never happened. So, it's just like a continuation of the work that we're doing. However, so next month we will, the agenda will not include speakers from DOE to talk about this issue with the special ed students because, we haven't really, they haven't been invited yet and they take a long time to reply. However, we will do some planning or discussion about this parent resource fair that we would want to do with CEC1. And of course, it would have to be virtual. The other thing is that, so non-educator related is that the Test and Trace Corps has been invited to come to attend our meeting in January. I think they could have also been invited to full board, but I guess that kind of didn't work out. So that's the next opportunity for them to come. And as you know, they're on a mission, to stop the spread of COVID-19. So this is not just for the members of the Health and Human Services Committee, but anybody who is interested in hearing what they're doing and how they can help. So please attend on January 7th.
Can I add, well, being that I'm working inside of a DOE building, and I can tell you that in our district, there have been several schools that have been closed due to COVID related issues around some students testing positive and some teachers testing positive or other staff members. One of the issues that I take up and I don't really understand as to why the Board of Ed does not share the information about the closing of the schools in our districts. I think that to me is very concerning, especially since one of the schools is PS 188 and they have a large population of District 75 students in that building. And I get this information because I'm working there, and I think Thomas is nodding his head. I think he agrees with me as well. This is not the first school in our district that has closed, and no one, it's been known to anyone, right? No one knows about it. If you don't work there, you don't know. And it just goes around in our buildings as gossip, and I hate that because I think that it should be shared information or public information so people are aware of it. People shouldn't just get an email and then tell a parent, oh yeah, by the way, the school is closed. We're not going to be open for like 2 to 3 weeks, and then come back in another 2 to 3 weeks and then they're still closed. So like we have, like I said, several schools in our district that are closed at this time. And so it's really doing a lot of harm for the children that are having a hard time adjusting, as well as the staff. This is an emotional issue. And for parents, it's like, what do we do? How does a parent function properly without knowing one day or the next whether their children are going to be able to go to school in-house or remote or whatever. So I don't know, Thomas, if you have anything else to share.
Yeah, I mean, I found out about it because of a school safety officer who happened to be at my school because that school shut down. But it just really helps people to make informed decisions, because a lot of times there are siblings who are in other schools in the area, and they may be unwittingly coming to the school and could have some exposure issues. So it's just very difficult. At least one thing that actually happened, I did see that they did start testing students. So that actually started happening this week. So that's a welcome change, but that should have been since September.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, was whether or not they were even testing students. But I thought they were supposed to. Well, I guess, they're supposed to do it. They say they do a lot of things and then it doesn't happen. Right, what they say and what happens on the ground is two different things. I know that. So,
They're
so that's something
testing-
we need to raise, right? Are you saying, like, when you say announce it, you mean even just to that school community, or more like district or wider than that?
I think that it should be wider than that, because there are staff members that come into our buildings that are visiting and from other buildings that have been exposed, and they're sending them into our schools because they're still, you know, allowed to work if they haven't tested positive, but like they've been exposed. And so what does that mean? Okay, so my school is shut down, so I'm going to send this whole staff, break them up and put them in various buildings in the district. Okay, now you're exposing me to this. So unbeknownst, like, okay, Susan, I understand. But I'm just saying, this is just something I just want to make everyone aware of what's going on, and how it is directly affecting all of us in some form or fashion. Okay, I'm sorry, May, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but anyway, yes, the babies are
I got it.
The babies are being tested. They started testing last month in my building. Okay. May, anything else you would like to share?
Oh yeah, I did. Just a little bit about committee members and committee functioning. So it seems like there are a few of these committee members who are now on this executive committee, which means they have more responsibilities. I mean, most of them are just regular committee members, but just to let you know, I had a little conversation with Thomas, because now he's the treasurer, and I don't know how much other work he's going to have as treasurer, but he's currently taking minutes for our committee. And although he's not officially the secretary, Larissa is still at least on the website. So we may, depending how Thomas feels about things, or, you know, we may be recruiting and training another minute taker from our committee.
Susan?
no work involved.
I'm sorry?
I don't think there's anything
There's no work
that's all.
involved in being treasurer.
There's no work at all.
The best office.
I thought you were going to give him all these projects, because he
There's
made all
nothing-
these promises in
There
his
is
statement.
nothing. There is nothing. We pay his stuff online. There's nothing anyone can do. I don't understand why we have the position, but we do.
Susan, I don't think that makes Thomas feel very like.
I know.
I'm thrilled that Thomas is on the exec, but I actually asked before, before to make sure that, I mean, I assume one of the reasons is because we want people on the exec that can have that important function. So I think it's an important function to be on the exec. Sometimes we do fundraising stuff from the Friends of, and then there is work. I don't think during this period of COVID that we're going to be asking people for money. But I will introduce Thomas, like I said, to David to understand the Friends of, but you don't have to worry about it interrupting his secretarial, because he takes very good minutes.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, May, if that concludes your report. Okay.
Yes.
Land use?
Yeah, so we met and we passed a resolution on the zoning for coastal flood resilience text amendment. Like I mentioned at the last full board meeting, this resolution was referred back to the committee because we wanted to spend more time on it. And this month we added the reasons why we rejected this plan. We recognize that the city has good intention to improve neighborhood resilience through zoning, but we also think that zoning alone does not sufficiently address the problems. And the other thing I have is about the 70 Marbury Street rebuilding. The independent consultant told us that they are going to release the final report on December 21st, and they would do it through a community meeting and answer questions community members may have. So I'm still waiting for DCAS to issue a press release on that. And then I'll share the information with the CP3 contacts who are interested on this issue. And lastly, we are planning a tenants resources fair and a property owners resources fair with HPD. The events are likely to happen in the end of February or early March. I don't have a lot of information on that yet, but I'll report back to the exec when I have more information. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Any questions? Let me see if there's any hands. No, there aren't any hands.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Landmark, Linda?
Yeah, couple things. We covered the big issue. We have yet another national landmark religious building in our community, and that's the Eldridge Street Synagogue. They have applied for a certificate of appropriateness for some fairly minor but significant changes for security purposes. They've had some problems with people getting into the side of the building, and going up on the fire escapes and putting graffiti and things like that. So these, one is to put gates. I don't know if you're familiar with the synagogue. On both sides of it, there are these narrow walkways. And so they want to put gates so that nobody can go into those narrow walkways unless they're authorized to do so, and to put lights just behind the gate so that there's lighting at night. And the other thing is some fancy mesh to secure the fire escapes. And these will have a pretty minor effect on the, on the landmark, and they're absolutely necessary. So we approve that. The other thing, any questions about that before I do my other thing?
I don't see any hands.
Okay. So the other thing is, not only has Caroline she not be chairing arts, but she has resigned from the community board. And she was a member of the landmarks committee. So we're down one, and we will be seeking additional members. So when you look at the full board members that are applying this spring, let's look for somebody who's interested in landmarks.
For sure. I think, Linda, also I would encourage you to invite the full board members also. Just send out a pledge, or
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I'll do that.
Because I don't think a lot of people really understand what landmarks is and what they do.
Yeah, either you do or you don't, kind of. I mean, if people have a background in architecture, they would tend to know something about it. And I don't know if we have any of those right now.
Yeah, but you're a good trainer. So I think that, you could probably, if there's someone that's really interested in historic buildings and things of that sort.
Yes, somebody who just likes them, and that works fine, because this is a place for them to learn.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
we can try to recruit another public member, but we really need another full board member.
Yes.
Replace Carolyn.
Okay, absolutely.
That's it.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, subcommittees. Okay, Section 8, NYCHA, we already talked about that. Jackie, anything further you want to say?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So, just 1 second. So, I just wanted to say that Troy chaired a really good meeting last night, and I just want to thank him for that. He's not here tonight, but I feel like I want to show the appreciation. I already discussed the result that we approved earlier, but there's another thing I want to ask the exec's opinion, because last night 2 members were not able to log in Zoom due to some technical problem. So I wanted to know, in that kind of situation, as chair, am I allowed to give them the attendance credit or not? I mean, the situation does not happen very often, but like last night, we just ran into some technical issue. So I want to hear from.
I thought Susan addressed that earlier.
Well, not the attendance part. Jackie wants to have them both recorded as at the meeting because they were available, tried to get on the meeting.
Right.
And then I was having like background conversation with them, like testing them how to log in. And I feel like it's not like they didn't want to participate at the meeting or anything. It's just that they couldn't log in. So I want to know if in that kind of situation, shall we give them the attendance credit or not?
Michelle has her hand up. Go ahead, Michelle.
I don't have like really a comment on the attendance, but in the future you could just ask them to dial in through their phone rather than having them use the Zoom like online function.
I think last night the situation was a little bit tricky because the meeting ID was messed up, so it was just like they probably couldn't do it that way too. But thank you for bringing that point.
I mean, they could have easily just clicked on the link on the calendar, and we haven't figured out why they weren't able to do that, but they weren't.
I mean, so here's the thing. I used that link to log in myself. However, when I used that same link to log in with my cell phone, I was able to log in with my computer with the same link. But when I use my cell phone, it says that it is invalid link. So I really don't know. I mean, when we were in the meeting, I didn't have I mean, I couldn't just try, I wasn't able to navigate all of that.
Yeah. Trevor has his hand up.
Jackie, you're asking an interesting question, so I'm looking for opinions on his question, because I know folks have opined on how to get in, because we've had a couple of technical issues for meetings, but I experienced some of that, and depending on my conversation with committee members, I've marked them as present because I don't think it's fair, and people have tried to call in, so I'm just trying to see other committee members' opinions on the exact same situation that happened with Jackie, where people are trying to get in, there's a technical issue. Do we mark them as present or absent?
Okay. Susan, I see your hand.
I'm not going to answer that, but these technical issues, the two that I know of this month, were the fault of the office. So if I didn't know the Parks and Rec had technical issues. If you have technical issues, please let me know so that we can change our procedures and prevent it from happening again.
It was actually transportation where we had a bit of an issue.
Well, that's one of the 2 times. Yeah, so there were 2 times that it happened.
Yes, but for the joint committee vote. But my point is that we're trying to answer Jackie's question as opposed to trying to give advice on how people should sign in. And I'm just looking for advice on what people say about Jackie's question.
Well, what I would say is, Jackie, because they made a great effort, because I myself was having difficulty logging in, and I found myself getting very frustrated, actually. I literally felt bad because it was like I was 20 minutes late. I felt like, due to technical difficulties. So I think for this, this particular time, I think we should go ahead and forgive their attendance.
But in transportation, we did get everybody in. They may not have been there for the first vote, but they all got in.
Right.
Still not answering well, I'd like to hear the committee members because I'm really looking as to what people think about technical difficulties.
Okay, May Lee, your hand is up. Michelle, your hand is up. No, your hand is not.
Oh, no, it is. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to unmute myself and let me put down my hand. So if it is as what Jackie describes, it sounds like it's a little like, I mean, there's a problem with the link as well. So it sounds like it was the fault of the office or whoever set up the meeting. So they should be marked as present, but you can have but since they actually couldn't participate, I mean, you can put an asterisk somewhere and say there was this technical difficulty and they couldn't actually join the meeting. So later on, when someone looks at the video and says, why aren't they there? Then, we know.
It's a good idea.
And then, the other issue is that sometimes it's not the fault of the office, but it's the connectivity of the person and where they are. I remembered actually Thomas, I mean, he actually managed one of our early meetings, he managed to log on, but he was having like internet problems at home.
Yeah.
And so he kind of was like, very much on and off. But we kind of knew he was there, but he didn't really participate very much that time. So that could, I think that's the summer when there was like those storms where a lot of people got, kicked out of their internet.
Yeah.
So, in that instance, I would say that I would also mark them as present and put an asterisk about, connectivity.
Okay, thank you, May. Michelle?
I was just doing my hair. Show hands.
Sorry, I see your hand is still up there. Okay, Larissa?
Yeah, I completely agree with May. The members did make the effort to get on, and through no fault of their own, they were available, and they were available to contribute. So I would definitely, I agree with May also with the asterisk, make sure that it's known why they are not showing up on the video. But yeah, giving them full credit for being for at least trying to be at the meeting. Technology is a bear right now. All at
That's
the
true.
mercy of the Zoom gods.
This is why I'm in the office. Okay, Paul?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with the asterisk situation. If a committee member is exhausting all the options to try to get in, logging on, phone, everything like that, and they're like calling or texting or emailing you, I can't get on, then yeah, I think we should count it just with the asterisks just to make a note, had connectivity issues or something like that. If they're not trying to make any attempt to come on and then they email you like hour or 2 hours later, yeah, try to come on, then I'd be in absence.
Right, I agree. Thomas?
Yeah, I was going to share that often in our schools, we hold IEP meetings, and those are legal documents. And sometimes there's connectivity issues, but we've actually had participants come on through via another person's phone. It's a little cumbersome, but just to get your point across, and if the member wants to hear, they could easily listen. It's not, I mean, it's not convenient, but you have your device there with the person. You can actually participate in a meeting without physically having to be there. So I don't know if it's permissible under our guidelines, but that is a last resort if somebody really can't get on.
So what I was going to say is, so do you think that we should address this at full board? Because there are some people that have difficulties and from time to time, I mean, like, we don't know. And I also don't want to enter into a free for all where everyone uses this as an excuse, as I didn't attend because I had a hard time getting onto the Zoom meeting, we definitely don't need any of that. But we also need to let people know that we do understand in these circumstances, like, they could have connectivity issues at home. Thus, I'm in the office.
Why not deal with it at committees?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So if you guys would like to, if everyone would like to share at your committee level about what to do when these type of things happen, and I take Thomas's suggestion also into consideration and offer like an option as to, if you can't get on physically on the Zoom and be visible, you can use your cell phone or another cell phone or a different device to see if that would work. And then definitely stay in communication with the committee chair. What do you think? Trevor? It's good for you? Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. All right. Arts and Cultural Subcommittee. Anisha, anything further to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to update everyone that the town hall that had been discussed at the last exec meeting will be postponed. The subcommittee is going to go, as Alicia said, into some planning, into a planning phase. So the town hall will be postponed for post that planning phase. Yeah, and I believe that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Anisha. Okay, Chinatown Neighborhood Planning Subcommittee is on hiatus. And now we have old business. Susan, I think you had 2 items you wanted to share.
I'm sorry, it's 2 things I forgot. I'll be very brief. May reminded me of one. At the full board, NYU will be giving about a 15-minute presentation about the vaccines and how you can get involved in clinical trials. And the other thing is, we've been talking a long time about transitioning to a new website, which we have to do. And we had all looked at a WordPress website. And I found out accidentally this week that we have another option, and it's an updated version of what we have now, which is fully supported by information technology. The city will fully support it. The other one, I was not told before, is not fully supported. So we're going to be going into the updated version of what we have now. And I just wanted to let people know, because probably before most of the people were even on this committee, we had talked about a different website. If you want to see examples, so it turns out most of the boards in the city are doing the updated version of what we have now. And if you want to see a sample, CB1 and CB7 in Manhattan are both using those. That's it.
Thank you. Any new business? Michelle?
I think I'm allowed to do this. I want to drop a plug for, I had helped this person who has been doing sort of collaborations, like clothing collaborations to help small businesses around the Lower East Side and across the city. And he commissioned artwork from 2 Queens-based artists to put on clothing that say, some of them say Lower East Side and some say Chinatown. And they're available for purchase, and the proceeds are all going to the Bowery mission. So I can put the link in the chat so people can take a look at it. I ordered myself a long sleeve tee that will be coming sometime soon. So yeah.
I ordered socks from the church, Collegiate Church.
Very good. Thank you all for your efforts. This is wonderful. This is what community looks like. Okay. So now, I think we have a roll call vote.
Okay. Alicia.
Yes.
Larissa.
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
Michelle, yes. Shirley is absent. Thomas.
Yes.
Anisha.
Yes.
May.
Yes.
Thank you. Jackie.
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
Alex. Yes.
Trevor.
Yes.
Paul.
Yes, Madam Secretary.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we need a motion to conclude.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you very much, all. I will see you at full board. Survive the storm, guys. Survive the storm.
All right.
Oh, enjoy.
Okay.
Oh, it's seasonal. Have fun.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.